Males dominate the mafia stereotype. In the past, women were limited by organized crime hierarchy to the roles of wife, mother, or at worst, low-level criminal. However, this has been altering recently. These women, who have been included alongside the most famous mafia bosses, demonstrated that the criminal world is not based on looks, but rather on guts. They oversaw the most prominent criminal organizations and contributed significantly to several brutal and violent criminal pair. Bonnie and Clyde is undoubtedly the most well-known of the female American gangsters. In the Public Enemy age of 1931 to 1934, when outlaws' exploits made them famous, the two were legendary bank robbers. In 1930, she first met Clyde Barrow. Even though she was married, they clicked right away. In addition to their murders and robberies, a photo shoot Bonnie and Clyde participated in near their hideout in Joplin, Missouri, resulted in images that continued to spur imaginative recreations of their lives. But in 1934, those identities were shortened in a bloody firefight with the police. He was 25 while she was 23. Murder of her husband Nicola Pianese, the godmother Raffaella De Alterio, commonly known as the Big Kitten, assumed control of the Naples Camorra. She was detained in 2012 during one of the operations carried out by the Italian military, along with an additional 65 suspects. Cash worth more than $10 million was discovered. Some claim that her gang was accountable for more than 4,000 homicides in the previous 30 years. Extortion, money laundering, forgery, robbery, unlawful possessions of weapons, and drug trafficking were all on her resume. Opal McTruck Long. Long, who is thought to have been born in Texas, was given the moniker McTruck due to her size. She was brought in as Russell Clark's wife, but belonged to John Dillinger's terror gang. Being by nature a caregiver, Long chose to go by Bernice Clark, joyfully scrubbed the hideout and prepared meals for the entire group, whom she rolled off as family. On January 25, 1934, her husband was detained in Tucson, Arizona, which damaged things. Later, she pleaded with Dillinger for money to pay for an appeal of Clark's case after attacking the officers who conducted the arrest. She was ultimately excluded from the organization due to her demands. She was detained that same summer as well.
Bloods, whose real name is Blood Alliance, were formed as an offshoot of the Crips, with whom they have been enemies ever since. There have been numerous deaths between them. The Bloods were considered particularly brave from the start, so they received a lot of support from initially hostile, smaller gangs. The Bloods recruit their offspring primarily from African American schoolchildren, to whom they instill a sense of protection and belonging. The members also call themselves Crip Killers. Her distinguishing mark is a red scarf. The Bloods are responsible for about 50 murders each year. The Crips were founded by two young men aged 16. Initially, the gang consisted of various street gangs. In their home region of South Los Angeles, the Crips' power and influence grew rapidly over the years. They have around 250,000 members who wear a blue bandana to identify themselves. The gang is considered very violent, and not only fights their rivals, but often engages in brutal internal power struggles. The Crips are responsible for about 60 murders each year. The Black Guerrilla family, also known as the Black Family, has around 45,000 members in the United States. The gang was founded by George Jackson, a member of the Black Panther Party, to protect the dignity of black prisoners. Over time, the Black Family made its name through acts of brutal violence. The far-right Aryan Brotherhood is one of their intimate enemies. The Black Guerrilla family is responsible for at least 80 murders each year. The most famous and still one of the most brutal criminal organizations is the 'Ndrangheta, which originated in Calabria. Today, the 'Ndrangheta murders and extorts all over the world. She faces competition from her own country, the Neapolitan Camorra and the Sicilian La Cosa Nostra. 'Ndrangheta is considered the most dangerous and influential mafia organization, especially in the international drug trade. 'Ndrangheta is responsible for at least 100 murders each year. The Mexican Mafia is one of the largest prison gangs in the United States. It was created in prison by legendary first boss Tracy. The MM now has strongholds in all major prisons. The approximately 30,000 members maintain close ties to the Aryan Brotherhood, for which contract killings are often committed. Members outside the prison are obliged to financially support imprisoned gang bosses. The Mexican Mafia is responsible for 100 to 150 murders each year.